There's a book out there that outlines how the average citizen commits up to 3 felonies a day without knowing it, because there's so many damn laws on the books.
Welcome to Lock and Load Podcast. My name is Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we talk to you about Connecticut 2A issues. And today we have George Austin, who is running in the 2nd Congressional District. Didn't mess that up. Good, yes. George, give a little bio about yourself, and then we're going to go dive into a lot of questions here. So,
well, guys, it's a pleasure to be here, and I am a 2A guy. That's
you
for
are.
Sure.
I met you at CCDL forever
stuff.
ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so my bio is I'm from some pretty modest beginnings. I'm just a regular guy like anyone else. I'm a home builder. I'm a carpenter by trade. I was a formerly how do I say this? I am a classically trained musician who hasn't played any instruments in probably over 10 years.
What did you play?
Well, you name it, I did it. I took piano lessons as a kid, did every woodwind during middle school and high school band. I even tried to start a few bands. That's
so cool.
So you name it, I played it.
You're doing rock bands over here,
yeah.
Country bands, it's classical band.
Yeah, no. Actually, it was polka.
Polka.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to get a polka band.
George Austin, the polka player.
You know what? Not for nothing. In Mexico and in much of South America, there is a large polka influence because of, let's just say, some European immigration in the 1930s and 40s.
That's cool.
There's quite a bit of that.
That is really cool.
So where was I? As I may or may not have mentioned, I'm a first-generation American. I have been a longtime football coach at the youth and high school level up until now, obviously. And
a little
that's
busy
me in a
right
nutshell.
now.
I am a little busy, man.
Going all over the place.
Yep.
You have... I got a list here because I certainly don't know this. 60 municipalities. 64 over. It does say over here. Well, I didn't say that. 64 municipalities. Andover, Basra, Brooklyn, Canterbury, Chaplin, Chester, Clinton, Colchester, Columbia, Coventry, Cromwell, Deep River, Durham, East Granby, East Haddam, East Hampton, East Lyme, a lot of East Ford, Ellington, Enfield, Essex, Franklin, Griswold, Groton, Hampton, Hebron. We're only halfway through here, guys, but I want you guys to see if you're voting
East of
for
91,
him.
guys.
East of 91.
East of 91, except for East Windsor, South Windsor, and Durham is actually not in as well.
Wow,
it's a lot, guys. It's a lot.
That's a huge district.
It is. It is 64 towns, which is
the whole right side of that state.
It's 1/3 of the state in towns and 44% of the state in square miles.
Wow.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of RTCs, man.
Yeah, I've been to them all except for, I think, 2.
Well, and then you got door knocking because now we're into general because you went straight through.
Side question, how are you going to accomplish door knocking in 64 municipalities? That's a lot.
Well, we got to target them very specifically, but just work, man. There's
GOP
not much else to it.
Central help with that kind of stuff, at least like the targeting and stuff. I would assume like data, right? They got to have data to help you guys out.
Yeah.
That was a confident question.
Oh.
We won't dive into GOP Central, guys. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, let's move into the questions, guys. We got a lot. We will get to gun questions. We like to give a lot of background questions.
Okay.
And then we'll go throw some 2A stuff in the middle there. I know where a lot of your stands on that because, we've been to CCDL.
We have.
So Connecticut has not sent a Republican to Congress in years.
20 years. Was the last time.
28. What was that?
No, it was been 20 years since
20 years.
The last one, and it was actually my seat.
Okay.
Was the last Republican.
What made you decide this was your time to run and step up to run for the U.S. House seat, and what makes this cycle different than maybe 2 years ago?
Well, there's a couple things, actually. First and foremost, I am, as I mentioned, I have a coaching background, so I have a competitive streak in me. And what kind of got me off the couch was I just got sick of losing. This is kind of a colloquial thing where everyone across the state in our movement says, where do we lose? How can we keep losing? We lose in the cities, and we lose with the youth, minorities. We lose with the swing vote. And so I just thought, and I kept finding myself saying the same thing over and over. Why don't we do better Why don't we have a different message? Why don't we have a better messenger, this and that and the other thing? So I said, well, you know what? I'll do it. My House district, and I've always had the political fire in the belly.
Any history in politics, local stuff, anything?
No, not really. I mean, I've been always very, very involved working in the, behind the scenes in my RTCs. I lived in Windsor Locks previously, now Southfield. And I did help out Matt Corey in the 24 cycle. But so, I mean, I have some
little experience in there.
I have some procedural knowledge and some background knowledge. But I just got sick of waiting for someone else to do what I keep talking about doing. And so I just started doing it.
Okay.
It's really that simple. It's as simple as just doing the work. And, I wish I could give some sort of motivational, answer with a whole bunch of backstory, but it's not there. I just want to do it.
It's just you. Yep. Just ready.
We'll go back and forth, me and Michelle.
Sure.
Okay. What do you believe is the biggest issue facing families in your district right now?
So affordability is going to be a big one. We're always going to get back to that. We are overtaxed and overregulated. There is a book, I keep talking about this every day. Either we're doing doors like we were doing doors in Colchester yesterday, and I was doing a separate interview on Tuesday, and I keep discussing this book. I need to remember what this book is, but there's a book out there that outlines how the average citizen commits up to 3 felonies a day without knowing it, because there's so many damn laws on the books.
Okay.
Not include speeding, because
yes. Well, I mean, I'm not sure speeding can be. Well, I guess you could do it in
It's
such
not
a
really
way where it's a felony.
if it's 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, it is.
It could be. You could be tried. If you wanted
84?
to. Yeah.
If it's 20 miles over?
I'm pretty sure.
Then it becomes I think it's more than 20. But if you do reckless driving,
Well, I got to be careful then. I didn't realize that.
But
you hit Waterbury traffic all the time.
But in between taxes and regulations, our freedoms are going down, our expenses are going up, our economic policy coming out of, which is not a state thing. A lot of issues we'll discuss here, we're probably going to tie back to state issues, but in this case, our economic policy, our monetary policy is coming right out of D.C., and there is something I can really do about that. We need to reduce. Everyone likes to say, what's the conservative talking point? We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem, but it's true.
Right.
Look at all the cuts that Doge had proposed.
Correct.
Look at all the rampant, egregious waste, fraud, and abuse that's being uncovered in places stretching from Minnesota all the way to the Middle East.
The Leering Center.
The Leering Center, that's right.
The Leering Center.
Well, even Connecticut.
And
we have lawsuits going here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we don't have a Nick Shirley to expose it.
Correct.
In this state anyways, not yet. But the moral of the story is this. If we find spending cuts, we can therefore reduce taxes and we also need to stop inflationary spending. Like, for example, the big beautiful bill printed out, I say printed, I use that very loosely. The point is we're borrowing from the future. We're borrowing from my kids and maybe even their kids, kind of conjuring money out of thin air. Point is,
Social Security is supposed to run out before I think I'll be able to use it.
Oh, that's correct.
Michelle, don't worry, you could use it.
Neither of us. Maybe. Well, not if I have anything to say about it. But
run out or let Michelle use it.
I only have a year. No. Just
really?
kidding. No.
Oh,
no. He calls me
I was
old.
about to be surprised.
That's why, because he always says I'm the old one. Because I am compared to the baby that's sitting over there.
Aren't you older than me, Josh?
I'm 33.
Damn. No, I'm 38. Okay.
Both babies. Okay, never mind.
Hey, that's super young for Congress.
It's awesome.
Okay.
I like it.
You got skeletons just walking around over
means
there.
you got energy.
There's 7 sitting U.S. senators right now in office who have been there since before Return of the Jedi came out.
Wow.
7. 3 on our side. So.
Wow. Are you for?
Term limits.
Yeah, it's
term
not
limits.
in here. But are you for term limits?
Of course.
See, now I like hearing that from someone who wants that position and understands term limits are still okay. I like that.
So there's a lot of arguments out there against them. The one thing I hear usually that when it is being argued in the heat of the moment, I have a hard time disagreeing with. And then, of course, I walk away and I'm like, no, wait a minute. I didn't want to say that. But it's really about there being a continuity of government. So, like, not having a scenario where all of a sudden one election cycle, let's just say, for example, 28, where there's a potential 0% incumbent and everyone is new and they're kind of learning the ropes. And that's kind of scary from a national defense perspective because I am not in favor of growing or expanding the breadth or the scope of the federal government. In fact, I want to reduce it.
Small government.
Yes, we need a smaller, leaner, less intrusive government, and at every level, but especially at the Fed.
That's a good line.
It is. I stole it. So he's not on the air anymore, but I stole it. Hey, you know what? He's a smart guy. There was Todd Feinberg. Real good. I loved him. Where were we? Oh yeah,
Smaller government.
So smaller government, and so part of that is the only thing that is continuous then in that case, assuming that there was a scenario where you had essentially everyone being a newbie, is the only thing that would remain are the bureaucrats, and that's where a lot of power has been sucked out of government, out of the federal government and put into bureaus and agencies, and that's where a lot of the expense comes too. So there's a circular argument being made against term limits, but I believe if we if
you do it correctly,
if you pick the right time and you have the right formula to where there is, and you're also assuming that every single incumbent would be kicked out at the same time. So it's a complicated formula, but if you execute it the correct way, I believe that a whole lot of our problems will just shake out automatically.
I think the House would probably be a little bit harder in the first kind of go around. If they ever implemented that. I think the Senate, because that kind of gets broken up into thirds, right? So like, because they have 6-year terms every 2 years, there's like a third of them that are up for reelection, and there's not the whole thing like the House. So, but that's a theoretical, and Washington will decide that. So,
well, and if you look at the founding fathers, you were never supposed to. It wasn't supposed to be a career.
Yeah, like Murphy.
You were supposed to. It was supposed to be looked more at as a community service, and you put in a little bit of time, then you go back to your life, live your life, and let somebody else put their time in, and it makes sense. But I understand where you're coming from.
So I typically don't like to use the term. I hate using, like speaking in platitudes like career politician, but in this case, there's not supposed to be such thing as a career politician. To your point, Michelle, a lot of the founders had other things. I mean, they wore a whole bunch of different hats. Inventors, lawyers. For almost every single one was a farmer.
Yes.
Almost every, if not every single one, easily 90% were farmers. So everyone had to wear a bunch of different hats. And so legislating, and rabbling, and conducting the people's business was really like the last thing on them. They did it reluctantly, not because they sought power.
Correct.
That's kind of why Washington is my favorite president, because he's the only one to not seek the office.
Oh, I did not know that. I probably should. Thank you.
All right. So Connecticut is one of the most expensive states to live in. What can Congress actually do to help lower costs for working families?
Well, like I had outlined, we got to stop printing dollars. As I was alluding to earlier, the BBB added about $2.7 trillion to the debt. We're spending money overseas. The Iran conflict seems to be drawing to a close, and regardless of where you stand on that, I will say that if we're debt spending overseas, regardless of what we have to do for our allies or whatever we have to do to protect our interests, we got to do it in a way where we're not debt spending outside of our borders. Now, what that has to do with Connecticut is simply because that really speaks to inflation, and that speaks to those who earn the least. I was talking about taxes earlier. Some people say, "Oh, tax breaks are only for the rich." No, that can on paper kind of look that way because because when I say on paper, that's kind of a double entendre. We're talking about the tax return. A lot of people pay a lot of other taxes, too much as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we're taxed on everything, right?
On everything, exactly. So even if you're a renter, guess what? You're paying exorbitant your landlord's exorbitant property taxes through your rent.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Like this stuff, the equipment, right? That's all sales tax, right? Got a lot. I'll say a lot of it through Amazon.
How about the excise tax on ammo?
Yep.
That's another one. Or how about the meal tax? So
not many people know about the excise tax on ammo.
Yeah.
Because and there's no Connecticut excise
What's that,
tax.
The Pittman,
Pittman
dude,
Robinson.
don't jinx it, please.
Well,
Let's
Ammo
not-
Queen
let's
is
not bring that into
hopefully
the universe.
going over in the 1st Congressional District to go. She's primary in Larson, right? She's the one that brings up that bill every year, every other year or so.
That is my favorite.
So I know. Yeah, that's right. You did say that off the mic. So
Yes.
It's not just taxes and it's not just monetary policy, but those are some real. I think those are the easy ones that we can get done. First 100 days
Okay.
that we can work together in Congress to get the ball rolling.
Okay.
And and then we can make adjustments after we go. After we get something along those lines enacted.
All right. I don't know if this kind of falls into that what we've already talked about, but a lot of people feel Connecticut taxpayers send a lot to Washington, but don't always get enough back in Connecticut. How would you fight for Connecticut while still supporting fiscal responsibility?
We're kind of like a net positive to the government from Connecticut, just like Southington is a net positive to Hartford, right? Southington gets taxed more than we get our tax dollars back. It's a bigger picture with Connecticut. Our taxes go more towards the government than we get back from the federal government.
Well, and it doesn't always have to be even, because if you're giving it to the government, then they have to piece it out to everyone. And I get that. But it does seem like we're always on the short end of that pile.
So a couple of interesting ways. Again, I'm going to always temper my responses against my previous statement. I don't want to increase the power, the breadth, or the scope of the federal government.
Okay.
Everything I will. So like, for example, if someone says, "What can you do about Eversource?" I say, from D.C., nothing. I don't want to do anything about just that one thing, because that means I have to take power from Hartford and bring it to D.C.
Right.
And that is not what I want to see happen, because power never goes back.
Correct.
Ever. So with that said, with that premise being established, and I'm going to get back to that a few times, that's the dad in me.
No, I like that. That's a good concept. It's a good thing to be running with, and people should understand that.
Well, it is necessary. We shouldn't be able to just have the magic wand and change something, because if we can do it for something we think is right, someone else will do what they think is right to us.
You don't want to give away power
Exactly.
and your rights. And your rights.
And your rights. Oh, yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right.
We're gonna get to guns here in a second.
So things that we could. So with that said, something I would like to see happen that would benefit a large chunk, at least of my constituents, is I want to see something done. Again, the only avenues, I have to find an avenue that's already established to do something from D.C. without taking power from Connecticut. So I want to see, I would like to help out the homeschoolers. I would like to help out property tax, because if we can't get Hartford to abolish property taxes like we're seeing in that's proposed and will probably happen in Florida, at the very least, I want to see some sort of further incentive. I want to further incentivize property ownership. And if we have to counteract that by increasing the property tax credit that people see on the feds, on the federal level, that would do something. Or maybe, for example, something comparable to the earned income credit, but for homeschoolers.
Okay.
So that way they see some of their property taxes that they don't, speaking of dollars that you don't get back, look at all the referendums going on across the state about the budgets, and all the upheaval is because of the chunk of that's going to the boards of ed. Mm-hmm. And we have less kids in not every single district, but a whole lot of them.
Yep.
I mean, I would say easily 50% kid enrollment is either static or down.
Yep.
And yet budgets are through the roof. And you have some towns where like the Board of Ed budget is at over 70% of the overall town budget. That's nuts. That's nuts. So I want to find ways to help out anyone. And these are some easy ways, because I firmly stand on the point that we are taxed too much.
So with that being said, and I might be jumping around, and I don't mean to, but being in Washington, okay, you would also be part of making decisions, hopefully, on what happens, like for funding coming into Connecticut. So when Connecticut decides to not follow federal law, do you feel that there should be penalties? And unfortunately, the only way you could really penalize them would be fiscal, but because how else do you keep them in line is basically the question.
So I'm going to sound like a broken record, but you know where I'm going here. I think that you're correct. There is really only that avenue, because if we start sending federal agencies into states to do their jobs for example, and now then you have to also define in which area are you speaking about. I think for the immigration topic, that is a power that constitutionally lies with the federal government. So therefore, if Connecticut is out of compliance, then therefore, I actually think it is a measured action, but it's totally okay and expected for the feds to come into the state and make us comply.
What boggles my mind right now about ICE in Connecticut is they can't wear masks. Now masks are bad.
Yeah, but they're not.
For years, we got told have to have a mask on,
Yeah, I know.
and now they want to wear a mask, and they're like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And Little Blumenthal was on TikTok the other day.
Yeah.
I was like seeing him pop up on my feed. It was fun. And
I do
because
too.
there was an ICE agent that said, what are you going to do, arrest me? Right? And Blumenthal was like, yeah, that's what we're going to go and do. We're going to go send local cops to your house when you're off duty and blah, blah. How do you know his name?
Well,
Like,
you know, and
And what if he
God bless
doesn't live
him.
in Connecticut?
But like my question with the fiscal and holding him accountable, it's say even you want to, you know, with the property taxes and you want to help with the education. What happens if the funds are then mismanaged at the top level here in Connecticut? And I know it's a shock, but you know that if it's mismanaged, you're sending these funds in to do X, Y, Z, and they're not. How do you then get them to do, not including any kind of like federal agent issue, meaning you have to send in ICE agents or something like that, but you're sending funding. You're sending funding for XYZ. If it's not being done for XYZ, how do you keep the state accountable? Like maybe you don't know because you haven't done this, you haven't been down there, but is that something that you would think about? I guess maybe that's a better question.
So the answer to the easy answer is yes, I would consider it. I think you got to start really. Let's compare what Josh just mentioned about what's his name, Matt Blumenthal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So about
There's some
how,
other names we
you know,
can call
like this
him, but-
whole tit for tat thing, just trying to dunk on your political opponent. We got to stop that.
Yeah.
We really got to stop that. I want our side, our movement, to be the bigger man or woman, whatever,
Yep.
in the room and work beyond it and actually start to get some productive things done. So in order to do that, yes, I can't think of at this moment, because you're right, I don't know. I don't have the insight, to that. I've only been a candidate for a year. I've never been in government. I'm a first-time candidate.
Yeah.
I cannot think of anything better, but I don't like wielding that broad sword too much.
Yep.
Because I'm always considering how's that going to come back on us when after I retire
Correct.
or whatever, right? What if the next administration is not friendly to our cause?
No, and that makes sense. I was just curious because, like, right now there's.
I can't think of a better one though. So
no.
I
And
guess that's it.
no, that makes sense. It's just right now there's no, for lack of a better term, guardrails to make the funds go where they need to go. They say they do, and yet they're not being funded in the way that they're saying that they should.
So the only way you can do it is to pull it, or instead of just sending out something every biannual budget, instead of sending out the line item.
More of like an audit.
Or you structure payments to be quarterly. So instead of one payment every 2 years. Now, granted, then here's the problem: who's monitoring it? Does
Right.
that mean we're going to grow a new agency? And I
Right.
don't. That's the last thing I want.
Yeah.
But
You don't want more 3-letter agencies?
bingo. No, I don't at all.
We have
I would
enough
like to see
alphabets.
less.
Yeah, we do.
I get you. And I didn't mean
It's
to
a
put you
slippery
on the
slope.
spot.
No. Well, I mean that's why I'm here. And so no, I don't have a better idea. The only thing I could think of to do is to measure. It's maybe having a question of timed dispersals,
Okay.
and then have spot checks to see if it's going anywhere, so that way you can pull it and have that be more meaningful. Because let's say you make the payment, me as the feds, I make the payment to Hartford. They squander it on tampons
Clearing
and boys'
centers.
rooms. So let's
Yep.
say I give you $1 billion in disaster relief. You spend $1 billion on tampons in the boys' rooms. I can't get it back.
Right.
So I can threaten to never give you another one, but that won't go over very well. That'll be a political sell. And
absolutely.
And then the damage is done.
Because then the people of Connecticut go, well, why aren't you supporting me getting more money?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the only way to do it is to maybe do it instead of one biannual payment, you do it, in quarters.
Okay.
Which is more work. And that's the thing, though. See, that's kind of getting back to my earlier point about work. A lot of these things, like that's why that's why we haven't had a budget in Congress in 30 years, because it would require reviewing the line items and conducting negotiations to get 12 different appropriations bills passed. That's why we've had continuing resolution after continuing resolution, because no one wants to do their work. They'd rather be celebrities.
Right.
That's a good point.
You know what? And at this point,
We get
I'm
our
sick of that.
on a local level, we get our budget passed every year. Okay, and this was my first budget at a town level, and going through that, it's a lot of work, and that's town council is the last one to get that, right? So that means it's gone through Board of Ed, and that's fun. And then it goes to Board of Finance, and they do a majority of that work, and then we tweak it at the end and approve it. But like going through line by line and looking at everything, especially being the first time, like our budget for our town is probably that thick, and that the Board of Ed has a separate book that's maybe just a little bit thicker. It is insane, but like that's the job.
Yeah.
Like you go in, Like, this is what is required by our charter in town here. Like, Washington should be the same.
Yep.
You have to go and do this. It's part of the work. So going
What a
to
notion, huh?
What a notion, right?
What a
Doing your
notion.
job that you get paid to do. You know, that's a hard concept for a lot of people, not just the government.
I know.
All right, 2A topics. Always fun. Connecticut gun owners often feel ignored or targeted. What do you say to lawful gun owners in your district? How do you support them?
Targeted, huh? Oh, was that pun intended?
It might have been.
All right. Very punny. So, how can we help? How can we help? You know what's crazy is I keep hearing these stories of these courageous, all this chest beating from these courageous Congress people writing laws trying to further codify what's already written in the Constitution. We need to galvanize or strengthen or enshrine the Second Amendment. No, that's already there. It's already done. We just got to quit tinkering with it. So this is going to be very, very, very anecdotal. So get ready. I want to use the office as a pulpit. I want to use it to use the power that, that comes with it to just promote the 2A message. I think we've been trying for too long. Both sides, obviously, we would probably agree that one side more than the other, but we're not innocent. Absolutely not. We're trying to legislate behavior, trying to legislate and change course for the American culture.
Yes.
And I think we just got to stop doing that. I think my approach, a lot of my answers are going to be stop doing stuff. We got to stop making all these laws. We got to stop imposing our will onto the public through legislation by over-regulating them us in the citizenry into committing 3 felonies or more a day. As I mentioned, I got to do my homework and remember the title of that book. But no, really, I think we need to just simply do less. Now, how could I help gun owners in Connecticut more specifically? I'm not sure that there is anything just remember, breadth and scope of the federal government. There's not much I want to do from Congress to pursue, other than.
But you can stop federal or fight against federal gun bans.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah. All right. So I guess
that would
let's
help
take that
us.
approach. Sorry, that's a better way. I would vote for any proposal to abolish the ATF. I would vote for any proposal to remove or tinker with or remove, let's say, declaw the NFA.
Okay.
I would love to see any proposal because I would love to. Actually, first and foremost, I would love to see Linda McMahon make good on her promise to work herself out of a job in terms of being the Secretary of Ed. I'm not sure that was. I mean, it's a great goal.
Yep.
Assuming that that's still standing when I'm there in eight months from now, assuming that that's still standing, what I want to do is I want to see an initiative to bring back shooting teams.
Nice.
Or rifle teams, because in rural Connecticut, in our rural second district, I know there's a handful. Only one I'm thinking of right now is Scotland. I know there's more. I'm 100% sure there's more. But Scotland has a town, a school, a public school. I don't want to say school because you could say, oh, it's a private school. No, the public school of Scotland, their high school sponsors a rifle team.
That's awesome.
And I think, we could work with the NRA and Eddie Eagle.
Yep.
I think that it's real simple. If we want to be self-sustaining and continue practicing what is, I believe, an American skill, is we need to make sure that kids, young adults, etc., learn how to shoot.
They have education.
And have education in how to properly use the weapon.
With all that, it's gun safety, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
For people that don't know, Eddie the Eagle is all about that. That is the NRA's program.
No guns involved.
That's true.
Yeah, in the curriculum. And there's like a little cartoon with it that says, stop, don't touch, run away, find an adult. And it's really good for the age group it's designed for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And maybe if we taught children that, then you would have less accidents.
Because the other side
issues.
argues if you teach all this, you're forcing guns and you're forcing, people to get involved. Not at all. My thought process is education is key no matter what. You learn everything you possibly can. Then what you decide to do as you get older, because obviously with firearms, you can't buy a firearm in Connecticut unless you're 21 or 18 for a long gun. So you have the education younger. As you get older, if it's an interest of yours, then you can go after it.
And you can step into training.
Yeah.
Correct.
What were you taught about fires as a child? Stop, drop, and roll. I thought I'd be on fire a lot more.
Jinx.
Okay. Whoever said that originally, I love the line. Okay, because that is instilled in everyone's brain.
Correct.
Right?
It is.
do the same thing about gun safety. If you, like, as a kid, you come across a gun, stop, don't touch, run away, find an adult.
Yes.
Like, it's not hard. The message is there. There's other organizations that have their own. USCCA has theirs.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some, like, NSSF, there's probably a program too, and some other ones, right? But, like, teach that stuff.
We had, we'll go back to me being older. When I was
Your
in
words.
school.
Yeah,
yes,
we have to go back a while for that too.
we actually had firearm safety in school. And I was in Girl Scouts, and
Holy
we
cow.
would shoot. They taught us, safety, and we would shoot. Now the Girl Scouts want nothing to do with it at all because, oh my goodness. But back in that day, and like I had said in another podcast we had, when I was in high school, we would put our our long guns, because usually we didn't have handguns that we could get our hands on, but we had shotguns, we had 22 rifles, we had other rifles that we'd put them in the back of the car. After school, we go to the pits, and I didn't grow up in the boonies. We go to the pits and we'd shoot, and we just plink. Nobody lost their minds that we had guns in our cars in the parking lot.
Yeah, different times, Michelle.
But again, it comes with education. And we weren't like,
Now you'd put a school into a lockdown if you had a 22 bolt action
well, because
there's a
they're
stigma.
taught.
and get arrested.
Because they're taught guns are bad. Guns are bad. Guns are bad. So anybody sees a gun now and they're like, it's a gun.
Yeah, unless it's on a hip of a police officer.
Let's think of this.
And those guys aren't.
I just had a
well
eureka
trained.
moment. You were talking about fire, right?
Yeah.
Fire drills, fire bad.
Fire bad.
Do you know that now there are reality TV shows and people who earn obscene amounts of money teaching survival skills, and the first thing they do is teach you how to make fire. And then you learn in so doing, you learn that fire is a tool that is essential for survival and under the right conditions, absolutely essential, and you interact with it multiple times a day in your life, and without it, your water may be unsanitary, your food might be raw.
And in the wrong situation, it can be deadly. So
Correct.
you have to be careful with it and respect it.
Isn't it funny how things that manners in which we are conditioned as a kid just kind of stick with us? So yeah, I want to see
That was a
shooting teams come
eureka
back.
kind of thing
Absolutely. I think that'd be awesome. I think that would be
And
awesome.
we're not force feeding anyone. It's optional, but it's just we need to take things. I'm not a fan of things being taken off the table.
Correct.
We got to put things back on the table.
That makes sense.
12.
Oh, it's my turn. Sorry. All right. Where do you stand on a federal gun control proposal like assault weapon ban, magazine limits, red flag expansions, and mandatory registrations, universal background checks?
I think you can give a simple, maybe yes, no answer on that.
I think I'm not in favor of any of that stuff. I mean, we already have that stuff
In Connecticut,
and it is burdensome. That I don't like the term common sense background checks or common sense gun laws, because common sense is extremely uncommon, first off, and second off, highly subjective.
Well, do you
highly
think-
subjective.
Because Connecticut has all of this.
Yes.
Okay. Some other states do too. But do you think having all of this is making us safer as a society?
No, I think a lot of the registrations are just. I really don't like talking about this, but let's discuss Newtown.
Oh.
The registrations were useful in figuring out who to blame, where the gun came from, what led up to that tragedy. But I mean, the registrations didn't help us prevent it. It just figured out who to assign blame to. Please tell me I'm wrong.
you're not, wrong word. Registration is probably not the right word. The tracing system would be the right word.
Okay.
Well, and they don't need a registration for that because the traces go through the 4473s anyway.
So-
when I say
and
when I hear registration, I'm just thinking paperwork.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and that's kind of a subjective question, right? But that's a federal thing. I had 2 traces this week, actually, which is maybe my second and third trace, I don't know, this year. We don't get that many. Some other stores do. And that can be for a variety of reasons. A lot of them is like the gun was stolen or they were red flagged and their guns were taken by
Yes.
PD. That's a lot of them because they want the trace of the paperwork, make sure everything was done right.
Yes.
And it's pretty simple. Let's say it was a Glock,
And
right?
what purpose does that serve?
It serves that
Make sure the gun's legal.
things were done legally, right?
I kind of equate that, and I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, but I'm
No,
having all
you're
these eureka moments. That kind of reminds me being a contractor. That kind of reminds me of OSHA.
Yeah.
OSHA
Yeah,
doesn't really
but
doesn't do a whole lot of training. People say, "Oh, is that methodology OSHA approved? Is that tool OSHA approved?" OSHA approves of nothing other than staying at home. So
Yeah.
And so really, they are a workplace police, and the only thing that results of OSHA inspections and investigations, if there's a tragedy once in a blue moon, there's a fatality or a serious injury, they'll conduct an investigation, and something may come out of it. Answers that need to be had will come out of an OSHA investigation more than anyone else's.
Yep.
It's kind of the same thing in this trace system, right?
Other than that, all it serves to do is ticket, to serve citations, and then therefore, extract money from people. So equating it to this, I just ask you listen, I'm not saying get rid of it wholesale, willy nilly. I don't want my name on no paper because my guns. I'm not trying to go down that that road, but I just simply want to know, what purpose does it serve, other than creating administrative jobs and then assigning blame in the case of a horrible atrocity. Correct. I want to know what it does. I want to know what purpose does it serve, and if there is no purpose, if there's a different purpose that, listen, I'm not saying that if we can come up with a purpose. Sorry, let me rephrase that. If there is a need to be resolved, and someone could come up with a piece of paper that will fulfill that need, and you can demonstrate to me that will have an impact at reducing crime, accidents, or whatever, all right, let's do it.
Problem is,
so
I
got an example.
But does it exist?
I got an example. So this was probably my first live trace interaction. Got three gentlemen showed up, and because two of them looked like they were homeless. All right, undercovers, state police, one ATF guy, two undercover state cops, and it was the whole buyback thing, right? It was the whole undercover sting. They bought the guns, right?
Yeah.
And this lady came on a Black Friday, bought a Glock 43X. I remember the gun because their MOS ones were super hard to get.
Yeah.
At that point, and normally the ATF will go through a trace system, like they have they'll file it in whatever system they need, and then you get a phone call or an email. They showed up in person. All right,
that's
cool,
weird.
whatever. Because she went around on Black Friday to multiple gun stores. We didn't have that 3 handguns every 30 days. And bought guns, and the guns and gave them to her boyfriend, and they ended up in shootings. I think down in like New Haven. So that was a quick trace system of, we now prove that she did a straw purchase, which is illegal. That's when you buy a gun for somebody who can't possess it, bought a gun for her boyfriend to sell to other people, to give to whatever it may be, which is a federal crime.
They're called mules.
Mules, there you go. Now, I would assume, I don't know if she's still in jail, but I would assume she did some jail time. See how that aspect can work? But then on the other side, the government may know way too much, and maybe you want Uncle Sam over there being like, I don't want people to know about guns. So, like, you could see both sides of the coin, right?
I do.
Most people can.
There
and
is.
guess what? That was a fantastic example.
Real world.
Yeah. No. So you know what? I stand correct. Oh, I said corrected. But,
there is a purpose for some of it. I just think this is going to come off wrong, but it gets weaponized, the information that they have compiled. Mm-hmm. And again, like you said, you have this one in, so you believe in this, but if the other side gets in and then they can switch it and use it against you, I think that's where this comes into play, is the more information they have, it opens a door to how far they're going to push certain things and how deep they're going to look and who's going to show up at what time over what. So
a way to further probably much better illustrate that sentiment, even though we're not even, this is going to be really off topic, is the question.
We do that while getting off topic.
Yeah, I see that. I do too, man.
Sorry,
the train's going this way.
Is the question of abortion?
You went way off track.
Oh no, but it's going to come around.
Okay.
I am ardently pro-life, and I have my own personal experience in this arena. We don't have time to get into the story. It's very. I mean, it's personal, but I don't care. I mean, I've spoken it on the radio. I provided a testimony at the Capitol this past session on it.
Okay.
So it's not the subject matter. It's just that the point is, if I filled out too many candidate questionnaires. Would you outlaw? And I'm going to be honest with you. I say no, and here's the reason why. I think it is unholy. I think it is wrong. We should stop committing. What really boils down to is cultural suicide by killing ourselves in the womb. Because we're talking about dead Americans at the end of the day. But I am very wary about making it illegal, because first off, let's just make sure we're speaking on the same terms. I am not running for emperor of abortions. Okay, so it's not like I could do that anyways. But I would not support it because I do not like the idea of any level of government prohibiting you outright, making it impossible, albeit a horrible thing to do, to prohibit you from performing what could be known as a medical procedure on your body. Because if you do that, and it just happens to serve my interests.
Beliefs, yep.
The flip side of that is then if the government can stop you, then they can compel you.
Okay.
And where that comes in is
that boils all back down to small government.
Yes.
Right.
But then if it can compel you, then we're talking compulsory vaccines. Talking about compulsory medicine, and then you know what? And then where does it end?
So you have your beliefs, but and not to use the other side's coin phrase, but
I know where you're going.
Your body, your choice.
Yeah.
All right. And see, I feel the same
My
way.
gun, my choice.
Correct.
My safety, my choice.
All
But yeah,
right.
we could go all down that
So
one.
I was just trying to illustrate my whole limited government thing.
Yes. No, I get you. That makes sense.
So it's very important for the listeners to know. He doesn't, I just don't want to
You
open
can see
floodgates.
the opposite side of that, the bad side, how it can be used against people.
And make our 2A situation in the state even worse.
Well, and you have your personal choices, but yet you understand that there has to be, and it can't just be what you believe, no matter what it is. It has to make sense for the
everyone.
whole society. I get that. Makes sense.
All right. Do you support national concealed carry? Why or why not?
Reciprocity.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
National concealed carry. Concealed carry
Reciprocity, yeah, it's called the Second Amendment.
Cool.
It's real simple. I mean, it shall not be infringed. And
So you would vote along the pro 2A side that the House has been doing for a while, and then it dies in the Senate all the time.
yeah, I think that's.
Because you don't think the
You know what,
permit
here's
should
a-
end at the state line?
I don't think what?
Your permit should end at the state line, or your ability to carry should end at the state line, depending. I mean, like driver's license, you can drive everywhere. I don't understand.
Correct. So let's put it this way: there are a few things. There is a scenario that you could concoct. It is a very extreme set of circumstances, but you could come up with a set of circumstances where I would say no to that, or where I would say yes, it should end at the state lines. And one example is let's say zoning laws. Okay. Zoning laws are different from town to town, all within the same state. And that should be the way it can be. I'm not saying that it's better or worse, but that should be something on the table. It should be available. So let's say how different states or counties even, or for that matter, we do nothing by county in Connecticut, but almost every other state does. What is Class A misdemeanor versus Class B felony?
So yes, across the board.
So
Yeah, okay, because they do change.
So what constitutes? So now let's go extreme. What is a Class D misdemeanor in Connecticut may be a Class A felony in Alaska.
Correct.
So
we get that a lot
and
here,
we need to
too.
have, and states' rights must be observed in that regard. So there is an extreme set of circumstances if we went down that rabbit hole, to where you would say, okay, what is not okay by our beliefs and standards here in New England is commonplace in Arizona.
So, but you could turn that around and say that it would be okay because look at today. We leave Connecticut with our Connecticut permit. Our permit is acknowledged in how many states?
30-ish.
Okay.
Plus or minus.
But every state you go to.
You mean the Utah permit?
No, Connecticut.
A lot of people have no idea.
Because
Connecticut.
any of the constitutional carry states we can carry in no problem.
Yep.
True. So then, therefore, I would submit to you that the permit does nothing. Therefore, it is not actually recognized there because it's not needed.
So national.
Correct. But what I'm saying is you have to follow those state laws. So when you're talking about, yes, because the statutes don't match up state to state to state. There is no universal.
Well, here's an answer to it. It's national constitutional carry.
Correct.
That just ends that.
But
That
you have
ends
to
your
follow,
scenario.
You have to follow the state laws. So if they're saying, misdemeanor D is a felony there, you can't carry there because you have a felony according to that state. So it would be people's jobs to do their information, same as we have to know whether you can carry open, not carry, or open, this kind of shit.
Here we go on that, though, is the federal government already tells you if you could have a gun or not, right? So like felons, right? That's on the 4473. That's the packet you fill out when you buy a gun, for anyone who doesn't know that. They tell you, like, and there's 12, 13 questions, right? And then states have extra stuff. But if you just went a blanket across the board, this is what it is, like a national constitutional carry, then that's it. Those are the laws. So it doesn't matter if larceny in the 6th degree is a B misdemeanor here and it's a D felony in New York. The set that somebody would have to do, Congress, the ATF, but you set the standard and that's just what it is, right? And maybe there's ways to change that and amend that, but you already have the federal government standards on what they deem is okay, and the state has some extra ones, right? We have 11 disqualifying misdemeanors in Connecticut, along with any felonies, which would have already disqualified you from a federal level.
Right.
And a lot of the ones in Connecticut have to do with like a violent act, typically, or apparently rioting, because that's 3 of them. But on the ATF aspect, do you think Congress should be investigating delays, overreach, abuses by agencies like the ATF or any other 3-letter agency?
Yes.
That was easy.
Okay.
Next.
Economy and affordability is our next topic.
All right. Inflation has hit groceries, utilities, rent, insurance, and small businesses hard, along with anything else I left out. What is your plan to bring the costs down?
Deregulating, detaxing, for lack of a better term. How about that? Detaxing. I'm going to have to remember that.
I need to trademark that.
Hashtag detax.
I like it.
You know what? That's easier than, what was it? Taxation is theft?
Yes, yes.
So detax, I like that.
Hashtag detax.
Hashtag detax is what it is. Although that'll be confused with detax.
Should probably write that down.
Go with less tax. How
There you
about
go.
that? Less tax.
Less tax. You know, listen, there's, again, we're just kind of getting back to it. Do less. The government needs to do less, and it needs to shrink. You know, people will need to have more control over their own destiny, and you know, more bills and more laws and more convoluted ways for scammers to scam, like the Leering Center. You know, there's just, the more we do, the more we end up undoing.
Right. Agreed.
And you know, and so a real big thing, like the only way you can grow an economy, within a state, is for it's much easier for there to be more businesses than there are to grow businesses on scale. So that's it's really a state thing. But I would, you know,
What about federal tax credits for businesses?
Or small, like the SBA,
the SBA.
small business loans.
Make more grants available for people that are trying to expand. You know,
I don't know grants is taxed money you're giving free. Right.
And then on top of
low interest loans make more sense, right?
I would agree with that, because also then with the SBA grants, or like any grant for that matter, along with that comes insane requirements and supervision. Like
a lot of scams too.
A lot of scams.
But if I could get X amount of dollars at like a 3% interest rate to go maybe build a range, right, to expand the business, and then consequently I have to hire more employees because I can't just run a range with employees, you know. It all makes sense. Well, yeah, of course.
And then pay back the loan. So.
Right. And then you get the interest, not you, but the government gets that interest portion, which then helps to do more.
Yeah.
And it's a small interest portion, but if you get enough people doing it, the pennies add up.
Yeah. Well, you know, look at that. If we take another 5 minutes, we probably could have solved a world hunger.
I just want U.S. hunger. I'd be good starting there. We have way too many.
If we take another 5 minutes, probably can figure out some more problems.
Yeah.
So we've been going through this a while. I'm going to jump around here a little bit. What is your message to police officers and first responders who do not feel supported by politicians? Right, and this kind of links into Connecticut a little bit with our
accountability law.
Thank you, that one. But you know, this is in other states too, right? And so, well,
first and foremost, I do stand with law enforcement. I do stand with first responders, emergency services. If you're gonna the one instance you're ever gonna hear me volunteer or advocate for a larger government, it would be maybe a municipal government, because at the municipal level, you get into the nitty gritty. A lot more people actually doing the jobs of going through line items on the budget, and they'll actually like. I will trust the town of Southington to say, "Oh, you know what? We do need an extra $500,000 for a new fire truck."
Right.
And I trust you guys to actually get the money and spend the money on the fire truck and not a Leering Center.
We're actually applying for a FEMA grant called the SAFER grant to get more firefighters. We got the apparatuses. We need the people.
So
That's a topic right now in town here.
Didn't know that, really.
Yeah.
Is he?
So
You learned something.
So I did. So there are definitely some things, some ways or reasons where I would advocate for more spending on a line item.
Okay.
Because that is one of the few things the government needs to do and needs to do well and unencumbered, and that is emergency services, emergency management.
The SAFER grant has, and that's just because we just voted on it and I really dove into it and everything, but it is designed to help municipalities increase their fire departments in this case. That's what the SAFER grant is for, typically by manpower. So we in Southington, in my opinion, we have the apparatuses, right? They're not old by any means. We have the stations. We just lack the funding for the manpower. And what the SAFER grant does is it slowly brings them onto our books. So in the first year and second year, Southington is only responsible for 25%. The federal government pays the 75%. The third year, we cover 65%. And then the fourth year, it's all on us. So it gets it onto the books, right? You have time to plan for it. So you're not just dropping, $1.6 million into a brand new budget or whatever the number may be.
Phases
so
it in, which
that
makes it
kind
more
of
affordable.
stuff makes sense. And then that kind of goes back to all the way to the beginning of Connecticut as a net taxpayer into the federal government. Well, let's get a little bit of money back. Right?
I want to see the money come back to the people and circumvent the state
I
blowing,
like that.
billions of dollars on tampons in the boys' rooms.
No, I
things of
like
that
that.
nature.
It would be nice if it came back to the people a little bit more.
Who then will know how to use it as they see fit. They want to save it, great. They want to
blow it,
pay down some of their debt, great. They want to purchase a new firearm and some ammo, even better.
Well, they'll pay sales tax on that, so it'll go back.
Yeah,
Well,
it's okay.
it's true.
It's okay.
In that one case, maybe.
Education.
The next one I'm going to jump and I'm going to I'm going to mix both of them together.
Hit me.
All right. So the first part of it is what role should parents have in education policy? And the second part is how do we improve education without simply throwing more money into the same system? Which is what's happening a lot right now.
It is. Mm-hmm. So first off, I can't believe that we have to actually use terms like parental rights. I mean, that's like saying breathe air. Yeah, okay. Got it. I'll be doing that.
My daughter
breathing air is good. I'm in favor of breathing air, everybody.
when my daughter was in school, they actually
breathe air good.
They actually told
Hashtag
my
air
daughter
good.
at school, don't talk to your parents because they don't understand and they won't understand how to help you. And my daughter is one of those that took that to a T and would give me arguments at home because I didn't give in on that. And, I was constantly in school when she was younger trying to go, hello, I am the parent. What are we going to do here?
So I have a cultural comment to make on that, maybe not so much a legislative comment. And has nothing to, and I mean, on the question, not on what you just said.
Yeah.
Although it's going to sound like I'm addressing what you just said. I wasn't, but I just had it in the chamber.
Okay.
Which is...
You were locked and loaded.
I was, indeed. Really, here's the deal. We need to stop legislating the nuclear family out of existence.
Yes.
We need to stop incentivizing single parenthood. And in so doing, we need to be able to encourage that by legislating. Again, by stopping to legislate that into existence, we have to stop over taxes. It's always coming back to taxes. Taxes in two ways. We need to stop taxing them out of existence by making it impossible to have a single income household again. So how does that tie into that? Well, it's real simple because then kids are there's kind of a stigma in terms of morals. I'll give you an example. You have in middle school and high school, at least in my age bracket. I think it's actually dwindling down now, but in my age bracket, in our age bracket, and maybe even, previously, you had, sorry.
A previous age bracket.
Previous, past, present, future. It's just what it is. You have, it's physics.
It's math, but yeah.
There was a stigma created where college equals success and therefore no college equals failure.
Correct.
College ain't for everyone. I mean, I finished my degree after changing majors thrice and schools 4 times.
In
2 different states because I'm stubborn. My sons, neither of them, my oldest is not going. My youngest was, and then he's not. He may go back. I'm not sure.
I got one of those.
More, but guess what? College ain't for everyone.
And at half, I have
And
an
you know what?
associate's degree.
And I'll tell you this right now. Instead of taking on $100,000 in debt, give me some high schoolers who want to go get on the roof, and I guarantee you that within 1 year they'll be learning. I will teach them this, assuming they stay. I will teach them the skills in 1 year. So they won't pay to learn the skills in 1 year. They'll be paid to learn the skills in 1 year, to where I submit to you, the right candidate might be making $100,000 after a year.
Well, because
on the roof.
Trades,
Well,
they
and then-
forgot about trades, and trades are necessary, and now they're panicking because nobody has trades, but we don't teach anything close to trades in school anymore.
Correct,
So-
because of the stigma I just mentioned, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then so bringing it back to what I think that
You got like Wilcox Tech around here.
we
that-
need, but
You have to go to
we
a
need a whole
certain
bunch,
school.
man.
Yeah.
We need a whole bunch. We don't need master's degrees in gerontology.
Well, and we also don't need
What?
a whole.
Gerontology,
Hold on, what is that?
kind of like the social science of aging.
Yes.
You get
So-
a master's in that?
You can get. Are you kidding me? You can get.
What kind of job do you get with
You
that?
get a post. I have no clue. You get a postdoctoral in basket weaving.
Oh yeah.
So-
you could do any. Yeah.
And now, granted, I mean, if you got the money to go ahead and study it, please, by all means, go ahead. But
If I was going to do that, I think I would do it without the credits. I just kind of whatever that word is, audit the class. But no, if they even you don't. Yes, they have schools, trade schools now. That's what they did is they started taking the kids that weren't going to go to college and be successful. We go to a trade school instead. So we go to the trade school, high school. But a lot of kids don't know exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
And if you provide, which we've gotten away from,
incentivize. We need to incentivize work.
and in every single school, though, they should have shop. They should have stuff. They
Correct.
should have all that to give the kids when they're in high school, starting in junior high. Give them the experience, a little snapshot of what all these different things are, and then it gives them a better decision.
I don't know what
later.
school you guys went to, but we had that.
We had a.
I
Listen,
had it.
Tech ed.
I
called it.
had it back in my school. They don't have it now.
So like I'm thinking back to middle school, there were 3 tech eds and 30 the year. Like one was like woodworking, one was something like,
and then
and you
home
went
ec.
through 3 of those,
Yeah.
right?
But
Well,
that's
no,
good.
that was another one, like home ec, and there was something else. I feel like sewing was one.
Ours
of them or
was
something.
ours was pottery.
Something.
cool.
But
Ours was pottery.
and that was
That was pretty good.
so that was a class, right? The tech ed was a class,
I'm
and then
very
the other one
artistic,
was
you
a
know.
class.
I see that.
So like I don't know, we had that here, but when you get into those fields, they make good money.
Yep.
Okay. And then what happens is they come and spend that money because they come here and spend that money. Right. And I'm seeing them driving their $80,000 lifted pickup truck or more now. And so what happens is it helps the economy because they're making good money. They're younger. They're buying stupid shit, which maybe not stupid shit and
Cool shit.
cool stuff. Yeah. Right. Jet skis. And I don't know. It was okay.
Because they have disposable income.
Yeah, but then that helps the economy in general, right? Just like when people go out to and trickle down economics is something that I think actually makes sense, right? You have that extra money, you go out to Chili's or Texas Roadhouse. That's one of my favorite, right? And you go and then pay your bill, tip your waiter, right? They just made $10, right, off that one table. They have 30 tables, right? That's $300. Waiters actually can make decent money.
Correct.
As somebody who did that as his first job for 3 years and learned that wonderful customer service that we bring here at Lock and Load Firearms. It's a good plug there.
God bless America.
Yeah, right? And maybe Michelle brings that over there at Patriot Wear Holsters.
Thank
She
you.
certainly gives you the sarcasm.
I do.
But going into the trade, you're not getting into a shitload of debt.
Correct. But it depends on the person.
Well, and it depends
Some
on what
people-
job, right? Like as a doctor, yeah, go through the school, please. Like,
Engineering.
right, engineering,
Yes.
computers,
And we need
maybe not
all
computers
of those,
anymore.
But it needs to be
Can learn
more
a lot.
diverse, and you can't be like to your
Diversity?
Yeah.
Oh, imagine wanting a diversity of educational disciplines. Imagine wanting a diverse energy portfolio.
But see,
imagine all these things.
And when I say diverse, I actually mean it. Unlike the people who are using diversity as a buzzword.
Yeah, I know.
I do believe those things make a difference, and I think it makes a better society because there are jobs. There's some kids that are just they like school. They can't wait to get into college and then go for the next 10, 15 years because they want every degree possible and they want to do duals. Good for them. That's awesome.
And you have some that
Can't wait to get out.
that just, they hate school and school hates them.
Yes, my daughter.
Not everyone's a student.
My daughter tried college. She's hated it. The only reason she went to college is she didn't know what she wanted to be when she grew up. And I told her she had to have a plan. I didn't care what the plan was. So she came up with a college plan. So she did 3 semesters. Now she thinks, now that she's been out for a while, she thinks she might have to go back to get a degree to get further in what she's finally decided to do, and come to find out she can't use any of her credits because she didn't stay in long enough. So she has to redo all 4 years.
So let's wrap. We're gonna go through some speed questions real quick here about
Lightning
campaigning,
round.
and then we'll close up because
lightning
we are a little over an hour. What is your path to victory in a state where Republicans have struggled federally, locally lately?
Yeah.
So what is your
What's your game plan?
what's your game plan?
Well, we're hitting the streets. We started with the grassroots first. We didn't start seeking out DC money and big PAC money and all this other kind of money, and then just hoping everything shook out, because that's kind of why we lose, because that's been the game plan for most Republicans. Not all of us, but most Republicans in Connecticut are money, and then spend money, raise money, spend money.
And then hope you can find the support, because they don't know who the hell you are.
So we started on the grassroots, and I started looking out for volunteers. I started trying to find help. We just opened our headquarters, and we were shoulder to shoulder.
That's awesome.
10 to 15 first-timers. And when I mean first-timers, I don't mean first-timers non-RTC people. I'm talking, they are, but that's not what I'm talking about. They were first-timers to the political scene, saw the ads, they just wanted to see what the hubbub was about.
That's awesome.
So that's where we start. And then I designed this campaign to appeal to low propensity voters, first-time voters, because if you take 100% of registered R's and 75% of registered D's in Connecticut, we still don't got the votes.
Right.
So we have to go further.
So unaffiliated.
We need the swing vote. We need low propensity. Like, for example, I'll tell you this. We've been working hard in Willimantic. I've been planting these seeds for a while. They're starting to bud fruit. Willimantic is definitely in play. And, I get scoffed at by some of the insiders in the party that say, oh, they don't vote. Never mind, they don't vote for us. They don't vote. And I'm like, well, who has gone in there to compete? Not for a photo op. Because that's what the Dems do, and they claim victory. Well, because they don't compete, but they'll at least go. We don't go in and compete. I would not just go, compete. We have to have the right message and the right messenger. So, in college campuses, my deputy CM is president of college Republicans.
Nice.
I'm pulling volunteers from the streets of Willimantic, pulling volunteers and staff from college campuses, and these are markets, the 18 to 24,
That's huge.
the urban areas, the minority outreach, the swing vote. These are where we lose, and so that's where I've started.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And it's awesome that you're getting the kids, the younger voters involved, because most younger voters historically don't,
I think we're seeing a shift, actually.
Yes.
Yes, that's why I
Connecticut
said
Young
historically.
Republicans is coming on scene. I've seen more and more about.
Yep.
In the high schools.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's a thing.
It's a good
and
thing.
I think this goes to, I want this to sound bad, but we're going to go and say it. I think this goes to the male aspect, young males
Was that
being
bad?
told that they're bad, right? For being
That they have some
boys.
sort of inherent guilt for being of a certain gender or thinking a certain way or being of a certain race.
And I think they're sick of it, and they're getting into the politics
Good.
aspect.
You can only take that for so
and
much.
there
man.
are bad apples in the field.
There's
right?
bad apples in every
but there's
aspect. But it doesn't mean that.
But I think you're seeing that come out more and more. And being at the GOP convention, you had a lot of young people there. You had a lot of Michelle's age people and older.
How about that?
But you had a lot of younger people there, and
think about it this way: you had the two front runners for governor under 40.
Yeah.
I would be next on the ticket in my district. I'm under 40. I am of course whiffing right now, but there are, not on the constitutional level, but there are a handful of state senate state house. There's a couple dozen. I think there's maybe like 2 dozen.
There's one 17-year-old
candidates under 20. She's in New London.
Yeah.
Yep.
She'll be 18
There's
by
at
election.
least,
We had a
I'm
young
pretty sure there's a state
New
senate candidate under 40.
They're good.
So and the other side can't make that claim.
Well, I think a lot of it too is, again, with the shift, but people The younger people are trying to stay here. This is their home. They grew up here. So the ones that are not leaving for college or leaving for the next greatest job, they're trying to make a difference here. So they're getting more involved.
How about this? I had another Eureka one. Check this out. The younger at least on one side, the younger generations are fighting for the place that they would just typically leave because they can't afford to leave.
Correct.
Could be that, yeah.
That could be it too.
They could have left previously, but now they can't. So now they got to fight for it.
My daughter's
that's where
having
the
that
shift
problem.
is coming from.
She can't leave and she can't move out. She can't afford it, and she's working for the state of Connecticut. It's not like she has a stupid job.
You know what the number? Who the number one employer is in the state is?
State
of Connecticut.
Yeah.
State of Connecticut.
Isn't it
Ain't
amazing?
that something?
Yep. I mean, that goes to like my wife and I when we were buying a house. I looked in Southington. I'm like, if I'm staying in Connecticut and I've built a business here now, I'm staying in Southington. I'm not going to Bristol. I'm not going to Plainville. Like, I've been here. We're staying here until I'm old and retired, and then maybe Florida. She doesn't want to go to Florida. Yeah, you're going to Arizona. Don't talk to me about warm. Okay.
It's not muggy and humid and.
Well, maybe just Connecticut. Who knows? But like, I have a business here. I have my house here. I'm into politics now, right? And yeah, it's expensive to leave, let alone
that's why
afford
you
a
got
mortgage
involved
right
in
now.
the politics is because of all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I like politics too.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. All right.
Hit me.
What do you need right now? Donations, volunteers, door knocking, phone calls, visibility. How can people help you?
I mean, yes. I need that.
All of that. Okay. How do they get in contact with you?
So let's start at the top. I'll tell you what, the CEP grant, for those who don't know, it is the taxpayer funded initiative. It's called the Citizens Election Program that essentially allows regular folk, and there's to a large extent I actually agree with, on paper, of course, for state candidates, for everyone from House rep to governor and everyone in between. But we don't get that on the federal level.
No, you do not.
So with that said, I do need contributions, and I prefer it come from the people. People say, oh, will you take PAC money? Overwhelmingly no, but for example, the NFIB, which is the net, for those who don't know,
How can you say
independent
no?
business, I'll tell you that the NFIB is a PAC.
Yeah.
I'm a member of that. I believe in that, so I'll take that. A couple of my home building associations have PACs behind them. One of them is called Build PAC, which just gave my opponent a check a few months ago. But anyways, I would take that, right? Because these are PACs that I participate in, that I believe in, that actually do something for Main Street.
So you would, if you know where the money's coming from, and
I've had interactions with them,
okay,
right? But not. I mean, I won't just take anyone's check.
Is it because you don't want to be beholden to somebody?
Correct.
Okay.
That's it. For example, I have not taken APAC money, and I wouldn't, and it's not because it's trendy to say, but it's because I can't serve foreign interests because I'm not a member of foreign parliament. I'm a member of the United States Congress.
Okay.
The United States House, and so therefore I need to be accountable to United States citizens.
Okay.
And my constituents at the end of the day. And I don't want anyone. I don't want to play a game of telephone. I don't want anyone in between us. I don't want any filters in between us.
So on a federal level, to have it from the people, okay? Because I know on the state level, there's different. So if somebody wants to send you a donation, what's your minimum? What's your maximum? Can you take it from businesses? Can you take it just from personals? Can you take it from anywhere anywhere in Connecticut? And how?
I can take it from anywhere in the nation.
Okay.
The maximum for the individual is $3,500 per cycle. So even though I don't have a primary, we're in the primary cycle. So let's say, Michelle, you wanted to give me $7,000. You could do $3,500 now and then $3,500 after the primary cycle.
Michelle's writing that check right now.
Yeah, I know. Which look, I know that's a preposterous thing to say, but guess what?
A lot of money, yeah.
I was just talking about the CEP thing because so many people say, oh, "Here's your signature and $5," and that pays dividends in the CEP.
Oh yes.
And I'm not going to say no because I'm not so pompous to say, I'm appreciative of anyone's support. But
$5 is $5.
It's $5, which it is.
It just doesn't go as far as it does for a local candidate.
There's no amplifier there.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
and I think a lot of people don't know that at the federal level that there's it goes back to
it's a lot of paperwork is what I'm trying to tell you.
So can you take it from businesses or just persons?
Only people. Only people and other committees. Like, for example,
can't
RTCs are
take
cutting me checks, take PACs. But no, so
You
lock
can't
and load
take it from
do
businesses, but you could take it from PACs and any federal candidate, right?
I know it's all weird. I know.
Well, so the way to do it would be for the business to cut a check to, a PAC that supports. But even then, PACs are only $5,000 at a clip. The PAC would have to get involved on my behalf. Anyways, the way to do that is through the easiest way is through the website votegeorgeforcongress.com. That's the word for, not the number. And that's a really good avenue to get in touch with us. So you can send messages to us right through there or through the socials. George for Congress, Facebook, George for CT2 on the gram, which is also X as well. And, or smoke signals. I know how to read smoke signals.
Nice.
Yeah, I do.
Fantastic.
No,
I'm
I don't. That was just a bald-faced lie right there. I love, I don't know. I always think it's, so I didn't get the laugh out of the smoke signal remark, so I had to keep going. I had to go further.
She didn't, but I laughed.
I smiled. I was like, I was coming up with something smart, and it just took me a minute.
Okay.
I'm off today.
No. I feel your pain. I'm there.
She's off every day. All right. Give us your closing argument. Why should voters in your district send you to Washington over the guy they've been sending since 2007?
Well, I mean, there's that right there. You got the term limits thing. I'll tell you this. We definitely have a different background. He's been in government, whether it be state or federal, since before I was born. We've covered why career politicians shouldn't be a thing. So everyone knows where I stand on that. Everyone knows where I stand on term limits. Even if I agree with everything he said, even if I was a Democrat, even if I was a liberal, I would still say term limits. That's enough. You need a wider variety of perspectives. You need a more diverse body.
I think you get out of touch after a while when you're just sitting.
Well, and I don't actually, that part, out of everything I hold against him, I don't hold that against him.
Okay.
Because it's only natural. Because if you're insulated in that elite class, politician class bubble, to lose touch. I mean, he comes in, he or a lot of them, even on our side, I will never, ever point the finger before I point the thumb, ever. I get that from football and being a dad. And yeah, I'll pat myself on the back about my parenting skills. So so it's just human nature.
Okay.
You become complacent, you become accustomed. So he comes in the market for half a day on Mondays, takes a bunch of photo ops, makes his rounds. I know because I run into him all the time. And then that's it, done. So it's only natural. So I don't really I don't hold that against him. That's kind of by default.
Okay.
But
do you think he's been a voice for Connecticut?
Oh, he's been a voice for some special interests in the district.
So not the citizens, but the interests.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, and one of them is the second largest employer in my district. But still, even then, and I'm not saying that what he does for them is not important and crucial. It most certainly is to industry, to employment, to livelihoods, to people's dignity, and to the national defense. All important. But guess what? He didn't coalesce that business out of the ether. It was already there. A lot of the work was done by his predecessor, and he takes a lot of credit for work that the workers do.
Okay.
Without giving accolades. But beyond that, I come from a different background. I have a different perspective. I have different priorities. And regardless of whether or not voters identify with us on the party line, in fact, I would submit to you that I would prefer that they go deeper. I don't want Republicans voting for me just because I'm Republican. I don't want someone to think that, oh, he's conservative, he's bad, or just because he's conservative, he's good. Not just that. I am nobody's rubber stamp, and I will never be anyone's rubber stamp. If you had the next administration to be Democrat and they wanted to advocate for constitutional rights and lower taxes, then sign me up. I will flip. Under those conditions, I'll flip, and I'll vote with them because that's what I want. That's what I want for everybody.
But if they don't, you'll fight.
Well, naturally.
Okay.
I mean, that was kind of a what if.
Yep. No, and I get it. And it makes sense. It should be, if it's right for the people, it shouldn't matter the party. It's right for the people. And
to your point, that's where I'm coming from. I'm not coming from any bubble. I'm coming from the ground. I'm not. So when you talk about career politicians and how that shouldn't be a thing, ultimately, I'm not one of them.
Right.
I'm one of you.
Right.
You're
And
an everyday Joe.
And that's what it is.
George.
And
everyday George.
There you go.
Thanks.
Well, thanks.
Everyday George.
You know what? At the end of the day, we can also think about it in these terms. This state has been on one-party rule for 2 decades. There is no discussion there. That is the case. And are we better off for it or not? And
No.
so just based on that alone, based on that premise, regardless of ideology or getting any further into that topic, what's the definition of doing, like, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again.
Expecting a different result.
Correct.
So we got to switch it up. We got to change it up. And that's where I asked I asked the people for their vote and for their endorsement and for their help, because I know that this is a different movement. We're approaching it in a different way. I mean, and I'm not trying to say I'm so original. I'm not claiming credit for others' work. This has all been written down and theorized and strategized, but we're just doing it.
Yep.
No, I think it's awesome.
There's a different about talking about doing something different, and then you actually do it. We don't start from the establishment. We start from the streets.
And we'll put on the bottom of this podcast, we'll also put all of your links
info,
so people can find you and reach out if they have questions or events that they want you to go to or something like that to help you out. Does that sound good?
It does, most certainly.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Give us your social medias and website one more time.
Okay, so we're talking, the website is votegeorgeforcongress.com. That's the word for, not the number. I think there's one out there, actually, so it's not the number. On Facebook is George for Congress. The gram and on X is George for CT2.
Awesome.
I appreciate you coming on. My name's Josh.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm George Austin, the 2nd District's next representative.
Yes.
There you go. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lock and Load Podcast is sponsored by Lock and Load Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock and Load Firearms.
Lock and Load Podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL Podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.